pass away, your word remains the same. Your history can prove there's nothing you can't do. You're faithful and true. Though the storms may come and the winds may blow, I'll remain steadfast and let my heart learn as you speak the word, it will come to pass. Great is your faithfulness to me. up in your presence. I just want to sit here at your feet, caught up in this holy moment. I never want to leave. Oh, I'm not here for blessings. Jesus, you don't owe me anything more than anything that you can do. I just want you to sing, caught up in your presence. I'm caught up in your presence. I just want to sit here at your feet, caught up in this holy moment. I never want to leave. Oh, I'm not here for blessings. Jesus, you don't owe me anything more than anything that you can do. I just want you. And I'm sorry when I've just gone through the motions. I'm sorry when I just sang another song. Take me back to where we started. I open up my heart to you. And I'm sorry when I've come with my agenda. I'm sorry when I forgot that you're enough. So take me back to where we started. I open up my heart to you. Oh, I'm caught up in your presence. I just want to sit here at your feet, caught up in this holy moment. I never want to leave. No, I don't. I'm not here. Oh, I'm not here for blessings. Jesus, you don't owe me anything more than anything that you can do. I just want you. I just want you. Nothing else. Nothing else. Nothing else will do. I just want you. Nothing else. Nothing else. Nothing else will do. I just want you. Nothing else. Nothing else. Nothing else will do. I just want you. Nothing else. just want you. Just one more of you. So I put my hope in Jesus, my anchor in the ground, my firm, my foundation. He'll never let me down. So I put my
Faith in Jesus, my anchor to the ground.
worship you.
My hope and firm foundation, He'll never let us down. So I put my faith in Jesus, my anchor to the ground. My hope and firm foundation, He'll never let me down. I put my faith in Jesus, my anchor to the ground. My hope and firm foundation, He'll never let me down.
Hey everybody. So we're talking about practical presence, making the presence of the Lord practical experience. Knowing Him and making Him known is something to be easily grasped. It's not hard. We make it hard, but it's really very easy. Being with Him and inviting others into the same dynamic relationship should be as easy as knowing your best friend and introducing him to your other friends. I mean, think about how easy it is to introduce your best friend to your friend group. It's just easy. It comes naturally to us. And so we want to be able to think about God and knowing Him in the same easy way. But there's another super important principle in the kingdom of God that we want you to grasp before our time together is over. So let's look at our key verse. We're looking at 2 Corinthians 3:18. And it says, "But we all with unveiled face, beholding Him as in a mirror, the glory of the Lord, are being transformed into the same image from glory to glory, just as from the Lord the Spirit." So I'm out here with my bike, all right, and what I want to talk to you about is what it means to exercise His presence. We've talked about the presence of the Lord through this whole series, exercising His presence, making it practical. I want to talk about total action here, putting into action the presence of God. And what that looks like is beholding and becoming. Now, our verse, 2 Corinthians 3:18, is very clear that when we look to Jesus with no barrier or veil, as the verse said, it means nothing in between us or Him, that we're transformed or we're changed into His very image. Now, we know the Word says that we're created in His image. When He created us, we were made in the image of God. But to actually look like Him, act like Him, make choices like Him, we have to be focused on Him. So, what holds your gaze holds your future. What holds your gaze is what you're going to become. If you're old enough to drive, you know that when you're driving down the road and you're looking off to the right, you are going off onto the shoulder of the road. If you're looking off to the left, you're going to cross that center line. What we look at is where we tend to direct ourselves in the natural. And it's the same way spiritually. What we focus on is what we become. And that's an important principle that a lot of people completely miss. So, do you spend a lot of time focusing on entertainment, like movies, video games, constantly being busy with your friends? Are those the things that hold your attention? Where do you find your mind going during the days? None of these things are bad. They're good. Those are good things. There's nothing wrong with spending time with your friends. There's nothing wrong with entertainment, books, movies, video games. What's the problem is when they become a distraction to us, when they're filling something in us that He's supposed to fill. And then we become distracted people. So, What about this? Do you spend a lot of time focusing on yourself? Are you primarily concerned with what other people think about you, about what you want and what you're going to do that'll make you feel happy? Do you do that? Or maybe you spend a lot of time thinking about what's wrong with you, thinking about all the things that other people may not like, thinking of critical thoughts about yourself and what you hate about yourself. Did you know that good or bad, focusing mostly on yourself is going to produce self? When we focus on ourselves, all we produce is self. And ourselves are empty without Him. We can fill our things with all the joys and fun things in the world and all the distractions, but at the end of it all, it's empty if we're not filled with God, with His presence. So Romans 7:18 says this, "For I know that in me, that is in my flesh, dwells no good thing. For to will is present with me, but how to perform that which is good I find not." So what that means is that in my flesh dwells no good thing. There's nothing good in and of me apart from Him. He made me. He looks at me and thinks I'm incredible. He looks at you and thinks that you are incredible. But apart from Him, apart from His presence, apart from the influence of the kingdom, we are just empty vessels. We're just people that will one day not be here anymore. And if we're not connected with Him and we're not living with kingdom purpose and we're not practically walking out His presence, looking to Him, beholding Him, and changing into who He is and who He made us to be, then we're missing out on so much. So if we want to become like Jesus, then our focus has to be on Him, right? So His plans for us, His plans for us are so big. But you know what? His plans for the world around us are even bigger. And He wants you to play a part in that. He wants me to play a part in that. And when we're just focused on ourselves, we limit the kingdom to our little kingdom. But when we're focused on Him and we see ourselves the way He sees us, and then we see the other people around us the way He sees them, we begin to get a bigger vision. We begin to see things like He sees things. And it's broader, it's bigger, it's richer, it's fuller, it's real living. It's real living instead of existing. And that's what I want. He's inviting us to be part of something so much bigger than just ourselves. You know, Hebrews 12:2 says that to look into Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, the scripture is exhorting us to just look into Him, to gaze into Him. What does that mean practically? I spend time with the Lord and I think about Him. When I'm walking throughout the day, I think about the Lord. When I encounter people out in public, I think, Lord, how do you see that person? How can I talk to them in a way that would encourage them and bring life to them? What would you want to say through me? What would you want to do if you were right here? And He is right there because He uses us, flesh and blood, to speak to other flesh and blood. Do you see the big picture? It's so much bigger than we are. But when we behold or focus on Jesus, then we see not only beautiful Him, but get this, guys, you see not only beautiful Him, but we can see everything that He sees. It's limited. We won't see everything until we're on the other side of eternity. But when we walk with Him and we focus on Him, He becomes this lens through which we see everything and everyone, every situation. I would so much rather be pulled up, called up higher above the hard places and be able to see it the way He sees it. It gives you joy and freedom to know that He's got a plan, He's got a purpose, and His presence is so incredibly a huge part of that. And it's so practical and it's so real. I don't know about you, but I want to see what He sees. And I want to think what He thinks. And I want to love like He loves. And by myself, I can't do that. I become hard sometimes. I look at things and I see things very black and white. Maybe you're that way. Maybe you're not. But however you see it, it's so much better when you can see it the way He sees it. And here's another truth about focusing on Him. I love this. There are so many facets or parts of who He is. It's like a diamond. If you've ever seen a diamond, it's not a flat one-dimensional stone. It has what's called facets. There's little tiny sides and surfaces all around that diamond. And when it's cut like that with all those different sides, when the light hits it, it's dazzling and it looks like it's moving. It looks alive. Well, he's that way. He's so multifaceted. There's so many different parts of him. So like when you behold him as the Father, then you become a son or daughter. When you behold him like a dad, like a father, then what you reflect back, what you become is that incredibly loved son or that passionately beheld daughter. He's also a king, right? We know that he's the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. So when we behold him as king, then we know that we're heirs of that kingdom. And we're walking in that inheritance of a princess or a prince. I'm inheriting this. Everything I see that's his, this is mine. This is mine. And that affects how we treat the things around us too, because we realize it's his kingdom and it's our kingdom too, because we're co-heirs with him. All right, what about, have you ever heard Jesus called the burning one? When you behold the Father as the burning one, then you become a revivalist. You're on fire. When you behold him as that burning one, you burn too. You become what you behold. When you look at the whole part of Jesus as the bridegroom that came for us, the bride, and he's making us spotless, then we become the beloved. Do you see? Do you see how beholding, looking, focusing, training your eyes on him, on who he is, changes everything. It affects everything. It changes who you are in the core. If you struggle with attitudes, if you struggle with thought patterns, maybe you struggle with depression, anxiety, panic attacks, maybe you struggle with hopelessness, maybe you just struggle with thinking of something besides yourself. When you relinquish, give over, surrender everything that you are to him, and you focus on him, then you get to see who he really made you to be. He made you. If you're sitting there and you don't even believe that he made you, that he's the creator, let me just tell you, he is. And there's no one I want working on my air conditioning unit more than the person that made it, because they know every little bit about it. So who do you want working on you? Who do you want changing you? The Father who made you when you were in your mother's womb. It says, I created you in the secret place. He knows you. He loves you. He is drawing you to him. And so beholding him is becoming him. Every single facet of him. I really believe that this undiluted exposure to who he is will radically impact your life. Not only that, it'll completely impact your community. When you have that undiluted exposure, think about when you're in the sun. If you've heard your parents say it once, or whomever in your life, but when you were a kid, put on sunscreen. When you go out in the sun, make sure you protect yourself so you don't burn. We don't have to protect ourselves from him. His presence can only be for our good. Beholding him, looking into him, focusing on him, and you can't do it too much. You can't be too obsessed with the Lord. You might be too obsessed with a video game. You might be too obsessed with a hobby, or with your car, or with something that you love, but you can't be too obsessed with him. When you focus on him, and it's untarnished, and unprotected, and undiluted, then you become untarnished and undiluted, absolute pure reflection of who he is. So, whatever we behold or understand about God's heart towards us, you hearing me here? Whatever we behold or understand about God's heart towards us, that is what we become in our hearts towards God. Do you see that? If we can understand his thoughts towards us, and the best way to do that is in his word. We can understand what he sees when he looks at us, and his intention towards us in creating us, and why he has us here in the earth. We're not here accidentally. This is not a blip on the screen. This is not a big bang that happened and boom, you just came to be from the, goo to the zoo to you. That's not real. It's divine design. God created you. And here's the thing. He didn't create you and think, what am I going to do with Susan? What am I going to do with her now? She's a really great girl. What am I going to do with her in the earth? I got to think of something. No. He had designs in the earth. He had a dream. Something that needed to be accomplished, a purpose. And he said, I'm going to make Susan, and I'm going to wrap her around it. I'm going to make Jeremy, and I'm going to wrap him around this purpose, and I'm going to let him loose in the earth. And if he will just look at me, if she will just focus on me and nothing else, not distracted by what's in the periphery, but completely and totally taken with me, then I can change this world. My kingdom can come and my will can be done. His presence is really that practical, guys. It really is. It's as practical as riding a bike, exercising your body. We exercise our faith. We exercise his presence by looking at him, beholding him, and becoming him.